Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of
The Lo and Zo Show.
Today, we are going to be talking to you all about...
We're getting kind of weird, actually.
We're getting esoteric here.
Yeah, we're getting esoteric. And Zoe and I actually love really diving deep into all the quantum physics stuff and really kind of leaving the law of attraction behind a little bit. And there's a few reasons for that. This might be a little out there for some of you guys, but we also know that you are just very evolved human beings and that you're open to it. So we're talking today about the hologram in which we live and call reality.
And why we're pretty done with the law of attraction way of thinking.
Yes, exactly. So let's get started. I'm Lo.
And I'm Zo, and this is The Lo and Zo Show.
We're coaches and entrepreneurs who firmly believe that an abundant mind is the key to an abundant life.
On this podcast, we're going to be talking everything from how to manifest more money, travel, success in business, and beyond,
to overcoming the blocks that are holding you back,
to rewiring your brain so you can easily attract whatever it is you want the most in life.
If you haven't already, be sure to join us inside our Facebook community, the Queen Mind Tribe, for daily tips, mindset hacks, manifesting tricks, and more that'll allow you to build the confidence you need
to manifest the abundant AF life you deserve.
Now let's get started. Okay, so we wanted to bring this episode to you guys because for both of us, what has been really empowering in helping us to manifest things that we decide we want, especially specific things, is shifting the way in which we view our ability to attract what we want. So for me, the idea of law of attraction always had resistance attached to it, which is like all of that stuff that I want is out there and I needed to pull it towards me with my thoughts, right? There's effort in it. So I would do visualizations, I would do alignment practices, and it was like efforting. Like I gotta pull it in. And it also sort of instills this idea that what we want is outside of us, when in reality, it's not. Everything that we want is already within us, and the more that we can feel into the emotions, the more that's going to be reflected to us in our outside world.
And
right?
the more that we are the creator, because the law of attraction implies that there is some sort of lack because there's perhaps only a certain amount of these things, or these things are in a specific place. These things are here, there, and everywhere but where I am currently. And if you are able to look at this more from a creation standpoint, understanding you are the creator, you can choose. You can choose what you want to manifest. You can choose how you want to feel. You can cultivate that until it becomes in your reality.
Yes. So this was an idea I first started getting into last year when I first read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza, where he talks about something called the observer effect. And this is a scientific phenomenon that actually happens. They've got proof for it, where when something is being observed by human consciousness, it behaves differently than when it's not. And I'm not the person to explain this, but my understanding of it, and it sort of, when I read about it, it really spoke to me. Like I feel like I can see it better than I can explain it. But they talk about how everything exists as an energetic potential, and when it is observed, it collapses into a physical reality or physical. So they observed particles that were being observed versus ones that weren't, and the ones that weren't existed only as potential, existed only as energy. The ones that were being observed were existing as a physical particle. So it is the act of observing, the act of actually looking at something that has it become a physical reality. And this is like pretty out there. There is something, I think it was called something about the wave. I don't remember there's a very famous experiment that they did, something about waves. I'm obviously not, my background is not science, but you can watch it on YouTube, and it's something turning from waveform energy into solid form particle, and that our thoughts, essentially whatever we're observing, is becoming reality. And it just really spoke to me because I just wasn't getting very far at that time with this idea of like trying to pull what I wanted towards me. And so actually, after I read that book, I got really intentional about visualizing, and I wasn't doing it from an attraction standpoint. I was doing it from a creation standpoint. And that's really what we want to talk to you guys about today, is understanding that your thoughts, they're not attracting, they are creating. And this might not resonate with you. And if you love the idea of pulling things towards you with your thoughts, with your alignment, because you're a magnet, then that is awesome. You should do whatever speaks to you. But for me, I just started sitting down and visualizing what I wanted, with the understanding that I was creating that with my thoughts. Like my thoughts were literally collapsing that reality into physical fruition.
Yes.
Right. And so, I mean, I definitely recommend that book. More recently, we've both gotten into books. Like I read one called The Divine Matrix about the fact that reality is essentially a hologram. Again, not the best at describing that, but describing it scientifically. But what it talks about is, or what the idea behind that is, that reality is really just a projection of the mind.
Exactly. Right? And you guys can identify this. If you've had very specific things manifest when you are, let's say, practicing the law of attraction, if you want to coin it as that, really what it is like you focused on those thoughts so much, like just as Laura's saying, those particles have collapsed into your reality. They have materialized.
So looking at the physical world as like essentially a screen, and your mind is the projector. And this, I've actually really been thinking lately about, we see all these synchronicities, like we see number sequences everywhere, and we talk briefly about someone and then we see them walking down the street. And I've just been seeing all of that of like, if I'm focusing on, say, a specific number sequence because I keep seeing it, my mind is just projecting that into my reality. And I know it like sounds pretty far-fetched, especially when you think about other people or things that you didn't expect. It's not like you are consciously creating everything. There's lots of things that it's not like you thought about it and then saw it. But I always come back to this quote by Einstein, which is, reality is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. And so when I think about the fact that we just project the reality that we want, we're just living a holographic version of our own thoughts, essentially. I think about, we have very complex minds, and we really can't understand just how powerful they actually are. And how do you know that you're not creating that person that you can see 200 feet away, like just out of the expectation that there's going to be people outside of your apartment or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like I had this moment yesterday where I told you about this on our way here, but where I was like lying on my couch and I could see boats in the lake, and I was like, oh wow, my consciousness decided that, oh, there's going to be 3 boats going by and it just looks so tranquil right now, and this is what I'm looking at. And it is like, if you decide that it is a hologram, you can really also start to cultivate a gratitude for how beautiful it is.
Yes.
And how special it is. Yes. And when you start to view it like that, you feel so supported because you feel like the creator.
And powerful.
Yeah. You feel like you are the creator, that you are supporting your manifestation, supporting your goals with all your power.
And like on the way here, we were talking about how it kind of gets a little bit scary because you start to, and test this with yourself, you guys. Visualize something, get emotionally involved with it, and then let it go and see how quickly that is reflected back to you, especially if you're not not introducing resistance with doubt and whatever. So choose something easy, see how quickly that comes back to you. But on the way here, we were just joking about how like everything is a reflection of this is my hologram. I'm creating it. And actually, last night we went bowling and this was like the first time in my life when I did not suck at bowling.
Oh my gosh, this is a great story, you guys. Okay, pay attention right now.
I know it's not quite that profound, but
no, it was profound.
We went bowling and I had told Zoe like, I'm actually terrible at bowling. But then we got there and I was like, well, if this is like my reality, my projection, then maybe I get to choose how good I am at bowling. Like, what if I just project? What if I just visualize me being good at it? Me, like every time I throw the ball, I imagine hitting the pins down. And so I did that. I at one point, so I was like, how are you doing that? Because I wasn't like the most amazing person or anything like that. I think I came like,
but you were talking down about your skills.
Well, yeah. So I think I was like second or something in our group for quite a while, and there was like 6 of us or something like that. And you were like, how are you doing this? And I was like, I just get up there, I'm holding the ball, and I visualize all the pins falling down, and then I throw it.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, and you have to understand that once Lauren told me this, obviously I'm getting super observant of what she's doing, and she literally just walks up there, like visualizes for a minute, and she would just toss the ball.
I do not have like hand-eye coordination at all.
Whereas like I was approaching it as like, okay, I need to figure this out. I need to figure out the right spin, the right speed, the right ball heaviness, like going down there. And so I'm looking at
any of those things.
Well, I was looking at the dots, right? Like you go to the middle dot when you're looking at the bowling pins and everything, and you try to align the ball on those middle points so they go right down and get you a strike. And Laura just like walks up there and just tosses the ball. Like you just tossed it, and for some reason you were just nailing it every time.
Well,
and there was I was trying to understand like the skill base behind this, but there was none. Like you literally were creating it, and I watched you create it. It was really cool.
Well, and like this mindset has really helped me to be so intentional in my visualization in a way that doesn't introduce doubt, because I'm just like, oh, I'm creating through visualizing.
Mm-hmm.
So all I have to do is visualize and get emotionally involved. And actually, a book I just finished reading is called How to Manifest Your Desires by Neville Goddard, who is just like incredible. And that's what the whole book is about. It's just like you create with your consciousness. Like your consciousness is the creative power of the universe. And all you have to do is imagine what you want and understand that your thoughts are the creative power, and that will be reflected back to you. So I just really now see everything as like, what do I want to project here? And like in my business, it has been really helping me to produce results, because I'm no longer trying to think of like, okay, universe, bring me these people, and like I'm attracting them. I'm like, no, I can create in my reality a holographic representation of what I want. And like when we say holographic, like we understand that things are very physical. They are real. We smell, taste, touch, feel everything. But I really think that that's just how convinced we are of our own beingness,
mm-hmm.
that we don't see reality for what it really is. And actually, on a scientific level, the atom that our entire world is made up of, when you get down to like a subatomic level, is 99.999% empty space. It is all these tiny particles circling really quickly around like the nucleus of the atom. And you can, again, see videos of this on YouTube. But everything in our physical world is made out of atoms, which are not, they're empty space. They're almost completely empty space. And so that really, it's like nothing in our world is actually physical. We're just so zoomed out that, and by zoomed out, I just mean that the atom is so small that we can't actually see it, that things appear to be real. They appear to be physical. And yeah, I just find this like such an empowering way of looking at it, because, and it's kind of feeding off of our last episode, just like, this is my reality. What do I want to create today? And I've really only been doing this intentionally the last couple of weeks, but big things have like started shifting where I imagine something, and because there's a lack of resistance for me in my now like viewpoint of how I'm manifesting, it happens really quick. And it's like, I don't know, I've been this week especially, I'm like, now that I am able to visualize without resistance, like I visualize and then I have expectation instead of worry that it's not actually going to happen. Like, what am I going to be able to create for myself in 2020? And the other thing too is that even if you choose to continue seeing it as attraction, law of attraction, whatever, this is still alignment, right? So it's like this way of looking at it is the exact same method of manifesting that every other viewpoint describes it or tells you to manifest, how they tell you to manifest, which is just imagine what you want, get emotionally involved with it, and then let it go. And so for me, I think looking at it this way, like reality is just a hologram. And Zoe and I now are starting to joke about like, I'm so glad that you created me in your hologram. But for me now, looking at it this way has allowed me to let go of the resistance that's been like, just really holding me back for a long time. And I like would kind of, I don't know about you, but we make ourselves wrong for having the doubt there, right? Of like, how do I just believe without doubt? Because when you believe without doubt, things come into fruition quickly. I don't know, like, do you have experiences in your life where you were just, where your thoughts was where you wanted to be and it happened quickly for you? Like a certain outcome?
Yeah, definitely. I do recognize this a lot with the platform of YouTube. Like if there is something that I want, like something super simple, maybe it's a hair product or something. I just set the intention like, oh, this is something that I want. And there's no doubt behind it. I'm like, let me manifest. Like, let me manifest.
And it does.
And then I get an email the next day from, let's say, a hair company that's like, we want to send you this. And it's so specific, you guys, so many different times that's why I always call it like, oh, my magical YouTube inbox, because it's just full of like my manifestations.
Yeah.
Anything that I want. Or I was even like looking at my coffee table the other day and I'm like, oh, I wonder like what I could put in the center here. And I remember seeing those decorative little rose things that are a box of roses that are preserved. I was like, oh, one of those would be nice. And then this company from New York just messages me the next day, emails me and says like, oh, we want to send you a rose box, like pick whichever one you want. I'm like, of course. That was just one thing that floated across my mind that I just said, yeah, no doubt.
So for me, like, it really can be summed up like, if Zoe's really good at manifesting things sort of that you're just easy about, that you're sort of like a one-off, I thought about this thing and then it happened. For me, because I always think about manifestation inside the world of being a business coach and helping entrepreneurs to align themselves with the results that they want and thus seeing them manifest and taking action and marketing in their business inside of that alignment, right? And what is the best way for me to help people do that and for me to do that as well. And for me, it really all comes down to this way of thinking about things, which is you are where your thoughts are every single time. So look at your life right now. Where are your thoughts? It is exactly where you're at. So if you are working towards something, let's say you want to have your first $10,000 month in business, or you just want to get your business to the point where you are making some money and you're having a hard time with it, where are your thoughts? 100% of the time, they are in the lack of results. That's why you don't have them. If your thoughts were in the results that you wanted to the point where you were just always thinking about what was coming your way or what you were working towards, it would happen for you quickly. And I experienced this in my first business, which was just that I didn't have doubt for that business. And I had a full-time clientele in 2 months because my thoughts were in the clients that I wanted and just really believing that they were coming. Therefore, I was aligning myself with them, and that manifested for me very quickly. So in the absence of doubt, our thoughts are naturally where we want to be, and therefore we move into that really quickly. And I've watched other entrepreneurs rise very quickly, create 7-figure businesses inside a year and a half, 2 years. And what they all say is, I just didn't doubt it very much. I just really believed that what I wanted was coming to me. And so I think that for people who don't naturally think that way, or if you're trying to build a business and there's naturally more resistance in putting yourself out there online or whatever, you have to find a way to remove that doubt, because the more you remove the doubt, the more your thoughts are where you want to be, and the faster you're going to move there, right?
Yeah, and one way that I really like to look at it is that you're born pure abundance. You're born as love on this planet. You are abundance. That's your most natural state. And it's up to you, like you said, it's up to you to chisel away any of the resistance that you have towards the pure abundance that your soul's calling for. So, or that you're trying to create for yourself. So where are you inhibited? What is the resistance? Where is that coming from? And then identifying it and choosing to let it go.
Yeah. And seeing one great way of being just seeing what you are projecting, if you will, because now I'm just my mind is just a projector. And so everything in my reality is a reflection of me, is to look at what are you attracting into your reality. I know I had a real not download, it was actually through a conversation I was having with Zoe, but a real breakthrough a couple weeks ago around how in 9 out of 10 areas of my life, I am love and I receive love, and I just have so many wonderful people that reflect love back to me. And in my dating life, I am fear, and I have been fear, and that's always been reflected back to me. And I didn't even see that for ages. So in that one area of my life, I was being fear, and that was the reality that I had, in that I was attracting other people who were very withheld or had a lot of walls up or a lot of anxiety around getting close to people. Whereas in all other areas of my life, I was how come I attract so much love in these other areas? And the reason is that I'm not withheld with my friends. I'm just I totally am love. I tell people how much I appreciate them. I'm not worried about being rejected or anything like that. And so that's being reflected back to me, right? That's what I'm projecting in those areas. That's what's coming back in this one area of my life. And it could be different things depending on the person, but I was just coming from so much fear, and that was being reflected back to me. It took me so long to see that, right?
Yeah.
So long to get out of my ego, long enough to be the people that are showing up in that area are just a projection of what I have going on.
Yeah,
right?
and when you can identify this, when you're acting out of fear, you're living and acting in that space from your wounds. So wherever you've been hurt in the past, that's where the fear is stemming from, and that's how it's a different you. It's not the true you. It's not your most abundant, pure state, which is love.
Yeah.
As you said, you were able to identify, I am purely me. I'm purely love, showing up in these ways 9 out of 10 places. Yeah. And then the one place, that's the inhibit. There's something in the way, and you have actively removed that. Yeah.
So I think just looking at kind of bringing it back to the whole hologram thing, the whole projection thing. What are you projecting? Because that's what you're getting back.
Yeah. Look at your life right now, and where are you not feeling as abundant as you could be? Where are you identifying something that I'm trying to reframe this concept of working on it, because it's not about working on something. It's not about working on a block. It's all about letting it go. Yes. It's all about identifying it and letting it go, stripping it away.
Stripping away what's keeping you from being in love, essentially. In all areas of your life. In your business, you're either coming from love or you're coming from fear. In your personal life, love or fear. With yourself, love or fear. And just looking at that. And, I think in terms of understanding more of the creation versus attraction thing, it's definitely something for me that I had to educate myself on. It wasn't just something I came to. It was really, and what's interesting is the people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, like Greg Braden, the people who are actually scientists talking about attraction, they are not attraction, but manifestation. they are the ones talking about this idea of a holographic reality in which we create with our thoughts. And they also are coming at it from a place of like what's been proven in the quantum physics world. So we wanted to bring it to you guys as sort of a tactical tool, but also just a new way of looking at things, of what if you just really invested in the idea that your thoughts create your reality rather than attracting your reality. Could you move into alignment with what you want with less resistance?
Yeah, like you already know that if you follow law of attraction, that you are the creator. You can be the creator. You have that power. But really focus on like what Laura said, like that the observer effect. Like you can collapse all of these things into fruition once you create them, once you actively align with your creation.
Yeah. So now, like for me, when I'm visualizing, I'm not visualizing because I am trying to draw it to me and I'm hopeful that it will work. I'm visualizing because I'm like, this is how I create my reality.
Yeah. And it's going to happen. Yes. It must manifest.
Exactly.
It's law.
Yeah.
And that way it's a law.
It's law so long as you don't have the doubt, right? So this has just really allowed me to... I mean, it's kind of a fun way. It makes everything light and easy.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun, like, you guys. Think about this.
Reality
you
isn't even
have
real.
everything you want. You just have to decide and then create it.
Yes, exactly. And I think like when we're really in our ego about something, or there's just something we're really worried about, it's just such a quick like, oh no, but it's fine because I'm creating my reality, so I can just switch this. Yeah, right?
It gives you all the power.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. We know it's like a little esoteric, but it really resonates with me. And that's the times in my life when I've been visualizing something without the doubt. It comes so freaking quick. It's incredible to me that I ever question my ability to create an outcome. It's how I finally had my business start taking off. I stopped trying to make things happen and started visualizing what I wanted. Like I actually got to this point where I was like, I have to stop trying to force this and allow the right ideas to come to me and just align myself with where I want to go, which really comes back to like manifestation 101. So I mean, it's how I went to Italy. It's how I have had big months in my business. It's how I have attracted a new move to Toronto or across the world. It's because my thoughts were where I wanted to go, not where I am. Without resistance.
Yeah.
So.
And you chose to be greater than your environment.
Yeah.
That's another one of our episodes.
Shameless plug for ourselves. Okay, cool. Well, we hope you guys like this episode. We would love to know if this is a topic that you'd like us to talk about a little bit more in terms of getting more into sort of the
esoteric stuff. Let us know if it's resonating.
Yeah, for sure. Because there's a lot more I could talk about on this topic. And I don't know. I love
down the rabbit
stuff.
hole.
I love like the science behind it, because that's what ultimately won me over into the world of I'm spiritual now because I started understanding that science and spirituality are the same thing. Whereas before I thought spirituality was, weird and woo and like for hippies that lived in the woods. Like I'm totally exaggerating, but like it didn't resonate with me once I realized like spirituality just is what is like and it's understanding like science and spirituality are the same thing, that I started feeling very empowered. So I encourage you guys to read some of these books that talk about these like bizarre findings in science and how that affects your reality or just plays into your ability to consciously be the creator of your own reality.
Yeah, and I would say Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza is probably the perfect place to start, especially if you are somebody who follows like law of attraction, because he speaks about that from science first and then moves into spirituality, and the unique stories that he has in that book, like even a story just with his daughter and something that she created, this to be true.
Too, like, I'm just going to throw this in there because it's something we've talked about in other episodes. It all comes back to who you're being, your reality. And actually, this is something that Dr. Joe talks about. Your personality creates your your personality creates your personal reality, right? So if you're being the person who already has, like, the story of his daughter was that she manifested a shopping trip and like a free trip across the world and stuff like that. So she was actively becoming and being the person who already had that. And so that was reflected back to her. So like, these are just different ways of looking at it. But if you want to be successful, say in your business, you got to be the person who believes in that or feels that it's already here by visualizing it, by tricking your brain into thinking that it's actually happened. And that was actually something you said to me earlier, Zoe, was like, I got so involved with my projection, what I was imagining, that I looked at my bank and was like, how is there not $1 million in here yet? Like, I really feel like there's $1 million.
I'm telling you guys, I really felt like it. Like, sometimes I get so consumed in my visualization.
You just got to stick with that.
Yeah.
That's where you got to get your subconscious to the point where, like, you believe, you feel more like the what you're projecting. You feel more like you already have the result, that real reality, physical reality, starts to feel untrue to you, or like surprises you almost.
Exactly.
You're like, I've been working with these 10 clients in my mind for a week, and like, they're real. They're here.
Yeah.
Just not actually.
Use your imagination, guys. It is such a powerful tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode.
Yep. And we'll see you soon.
Bye. Thank you guys so much for spending a piece of your day with us and tuning into the Lo and Zo Show.
If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate it and share on social media. Be sure to tag us.
Until next time,
stay abundant.